Here's my deployment, and that's going to go against your units of Sauros Warriors. 10 Crypt Ghouls, 3 Spirit Hosts, 1 Vampire Thrall, another Vampire Count, and another Vampire Thrall. This one has the Flying Carpet, that one has the Cloak of Mist and Shadows, that makes him ethereal. This one has Flying Horror, 10 Dire Wolves, 3 Spirit Hosts, 10 Crypt Ghouls, 20 Skeletons, 1 Tomb Banshee, 25 Skeletons, 1 Vampire Thrall, level 1 BSB, 2 Necromancer Acolytes, 20 Zombies, 1 Corpse Guard, 25 Skeletons, and 10 Crypt Ghouls, and a Tomb Banshee. And on your side is your 8, as you described by your deployment, 8 Cold One Riders, 8 Cold One Riders, 10 Skink Skirmishers, and a unit of 2 Razordoms, Sauros Warriors, Slant Mage Priest, Temple Guard, Sauros Warriors with the Old one called Sauros Old Blood, sorry. The Skink Priest is over there in the rock, 5 Jungle Swarms, and your other Skink Skirmishers. Alright, welcome to another Cheap Hammer battle report. This time is going to be another asymmetrical battle, and it's going to be between the lizardmen, list made by ChatGPT and played by Grok, strategy based on Grok, and it's going to be 3000 points of lizardmen. It pretty much cleared the whole inventory that I have for that army. This is all the physical models I have for the lizardmen. I don't have anything else. I'm planning to get a couple of things, of course, to increase the strategies that can be played with that army. But as it stands, this is as much as I get. Maybe I'll get a Bastiladon, maybe I'll get some interesting things that I can add to the army, some Croxigors, but I'll see that in the future. Anyway, so his army list is 12 Skink Skirmishers, 5 Jungle Swarms, 1 unit of 20 Sauros Warriors with a Sauros Old Blood, 20 Temple Guard, his land in the middle, 20 Sauros Warriors, 2 units of Razordoms, packs with 3 handlers each, and a Skink Priest over there in the rock, 12 Skirmishers, and 2 units of 8 Cold One Riders. For my side, I'm paying 2,500 points. By the way, I got this table math on, I think it was on Temu. Yeah, it was on Temu. It was pretty cheap, and it allowed me to create this coastline, because this is the under it. This is the table math of the desert. So I just bought this coastline one, which actually it goes all the way to the other side. It goes really deep into water, but I really don't need that sort, because I play like land battles. I don't really play like sea battles, unless you're playing something like Dreadfleet, but it has its own battle math and everything. I haven't even played that game, and I don't even know the rules. Anyway, so I just made it like a shoreline, so it's like shallow water, so you can just walk over it, and it allowed me to create this like shoreline sort of battlefield. I got some aquarium plants, and actually it combined really well with the dice shuffler, you know, with the blue castle. Gives it that beach sort of aesthetic. And so I'll give you the tour around the scenery. Some palm trees over there, and then here's all the water. Actually, this mat that I bought for the beach, it came a little bit longer, but the colors of the sand that it had, it was a very ugly orange. It didn't combine with this one, you know. So in principle, if it was long enough and the shoreline came all the way here, that wouldn't be a problem. But the issue was that it has a lot of still leftover matte on that side, and it goes really into deep waters. The color starts changing into a deep blue. So yeah, at that point it takes out of the immersion. It's like you can't walk on water, and you cannot walk unless it's like what was it? It's like shallow water. And besides, as like, I mean, for the lizardmen, it's no problem. A lot of them have aquatics, so they can just move through water without a problem. They got that rule. But I mean, like, I don't get really deep into those. Those rules are kind of like extras or added, you know, like you can walk through a river or something like that. It's no problem. But for this, what I did is I actually cut with some scissors. I cut that ugly like orange color of the sand, and I just left this. If you see, that's the original color. That was the color. This orange that is like hidden because of the foam of the sea water. This was the color, and right now it looks okay. You know, it looks like the water has, you know, like maybe change the color of this sand over here, and it looks like that. But with the other color that was like in front of the foam, it was really ugly. So I cut it out, so it gives that nice shape, and now it looks pretty good. I'm actually quite satisfied. The only thing is, like, I got some tree trunks over there, some like stumps. Well, or like they're like dead trees, and I haven't painted them, so I'm gonna paint them eventually. But yeah, it's going to be a battle here in the shoreline. Anyway, for my vampire counts, I don't know if I already mentioned the list, but it doesn't matter. I'm playing 2,500 points, 2,509 points. I mean, like, he has 3,000, so I have a handicap of 500. 10 crypt ghouls, 3 spirit hosts. I got my vampire thrall over there. He's got the cloak of mist and shadows, and he's a level 1 wizard. This is my vampire count. He's flying horror, has the ogre blade, and the levitating shield. This one over here is another vampire thrall, and he has the flying carpet, and it's a level 1 wizard as well. 10 dire wolves, 3 spirit hosts, 10 crypt ghouls, 20 skeletons, banshee. They carrying hand weapons and shields. Banshee, 25 skeletons, vampire thrall, level 1 wizard, battle standard bearer, banner of Drakenhof, 2 necromancer acolytes. One is level 2, the other one is a level 1, and one of them has the scepter of Nimrod, something like that. 20 zombies, 1 corpse guard over here, 25 skeletons, 10 crypt ghouls, and finally another tomb banshee. So basically, my strategy, before I tell you Grok's strategy, I have to read it out. My strategy is going to be basically, I'm going to go maybe for the softer things, maybe try to use my vampires and my ethereals, and maybe my units that have reserve move or move through cover, to go either on that side or on that side. Try to get in the rear of some of his units. Maybe I can just like once they get, I don't know his strategy or what's it gonna be, because I got to put the 2 objectives still. So basically my main strategy is going to be try to get behind his army and capture his objective, which is going to be in the center of his deployment zone. Mine is going to be here. I'm going to hold down with a big line of skeletons and zombies over here, trying to kind of like get into this position in which I can still control my objective, and I can just like bounce his units back. So either I go and kill the softer things with some of the vampires or something like that, or I keep the strong vampires so I can just like come behind him and pin him down with some chaff units, and then hit him on the rear, and then maybe cause enough wounds to maybe destroy his unit. That will be mostly my strategy, and try to chaff those 2 units, because he has very hard units to destroy. Temple Guard is very difficult to kill. and the Call One riders, I mean, they have stupidity, but once they engage in combat, I mean, the mounts have 2 attacks, the riders have 2 attacks, they got drill, they got spears, so basically the whole unit attacks. So, and they can cause massive damage. So yeah, I mean, like, for the rest of the things, the Razordons, of course, to take care of my chaff units, probably the ones that can be more damage is probably the dire wolves, the zombies. It doesn't matter because I can just bring them back. But for example, creep ghouls, dire wolves, something like that, in one launch of the barbs from the Razordons, they can just pretty much wipe out one of my chaff. And I need my chaff. I need my chaff to be able to stop some of these units from going into perhaps my vampire count. Also, those units are quite good at hunting, like for example, vampire counts or like more delicate units, because they can shoot so many times and they can just take the 3 or 4 wounds out of the vampire count and just kill them. So I gotta be careful with that. Anyway, Grok's strategy, I'm gonna read it to you as it tells me. Lizardmen overall strategy, 3000 points against 2500 points, close quarters. It says core game plan. Defensive castle grind plus magic superiority. Hold the center strongly. Use shooting magic to attrit the undead horde. No and counter punch with the cold ones once gaps appear. We have a point advantage and better durability in prolonged combat. Cold-blooded plus stubborn plus obsidian blades plus regeneration. I don't know what the fuck is he talking about with regeneration. That's me, not him. But anyway, vampire counts rely on numbers, crumbling, and magic. We starve their magic phase. Still thinks that we are, sometimes along the way it corrects itself, because sometimes it thinks that we're still playing Warhammer Fantasy and that we still have a magic phase. Anyway, Slan Mage Priest in Temple Guard Bunker. It's going to be the central anchor, using his higher state of mind and plus level 4 elementalism for reliable spells. Dispel their invocation of Nehek and Van Hels aggressively, if he can get there. Temple Guard, 20 plus War Banner, Unbreakable Castle Core, advance slowly as a block and absorb charges from ghouls, spirit hosts, skeletons, halberds, blah blah. Not planning to charge it, of course. 220 Sorrow Warrior blocks, flank of the Temple Guard, 1 left, 1 right, use as anvils. Spears from the ranks, shields and durability. All blood joints on 1 for combat punch. Weapon plus armor of destiny. And then he says the Cold One Riders are supposed to reserve counter-attack force. Keep behind the castle initially. Charge expose the flanks or weaken the blocks once the vampire counts commits. Fear plus swift strike, which is not useless against me because I am immune to psychology. Actually, some of these units actually have to take the fear test, but they got cold blood, so they take it with 3. So it's not really... It can sometimes work, and you get like that -1 to hit from them, but yeah. Skin skirmishers, chaff and harassment, blah blah blah. Early game, what it says is swarm, screen, and annoy. Castle advances. Mid game, castle slams into vampire counts blocks. Saros Temple Guard, skeleton, ghouls, and cold-blooded with attrition. Cold ones look for the flank or rear charges. And late game, use points advantage, stability to break through, prioritize killing characters, and blah blah. And that's pretty much the overall strategy that Grok has for his army. That's what he wants to do. He wants to use this big block to advance to my blocks, use his Cold One Riders to hit my flanks or try to look for a rear, and just harass my army with skirmishers and these guys over here. He didn't specify what to do with the Razordons, but we'll see it. I'll ask him along the way. So anyway, now that that's out of the way, let's go to whoever has turn number 1. I haven't rolled, but let's go there. All right, Lizardmen turn 1. Everything moved forward except that unit, which was subjected to stupidity, so it just moved a little bit to the front. These skinks appear with the scout rules, 12 inches away from this unit, move over there, threw some javelins, hit a couple of them. The lizardmen packs shoot their barbs at this unit, but only managed to kill 2. The slant mage priest threw the skink priest through a wind blast over there, so it's going to scatter in the next turn. I don't know if it's going to hit my unit, but it's going to cause a little bit of problem over there. And the skink priest cast oaken shield into this unit. Everything moved. These guys moved. Everybody march. Try to, as according to Grok's strategy, which was written in the last turn, is to try to use that main block to hit over here. Swarms move, and skink skirmishers with Vanguard also move to that position. So everything moved. Not a lot of changes, but on to Vampire Count's turn 1. Alright, end of Vampire Count's turn 1. Everything stayed pretty much the same. What happened here is the ghouls charge into the skink skirmishers, but they flee and shot and threw their javelins, so they kill a couple more of the ghouls. I resurrected a unit of zombies over there, 3 of them. It got 2 wounds, just to exemplify that there's 3 zombies there. And the wind blast casted by the slan through the skink priest scattered to the north. I managed to cast Doombolt with this vampire count into that lizardmen, killing 2 handlers. Tried to cast twice against him, but one was dispelled. I think one was dispelled actually, and the other one was unsuccessful casting. Over here, well, everything shuffled forward. Banshee stayed over there, shuffled forward. I managed to resurrect 6 zombies and added them to this unit just to increase its size. Crypt Ghouls over there, Spirit Host there, Spirit Host there. I didn't use the reserve moves because there's not really any need for me to push them forward. They wouldn't cause a lot of wounds to these units. I'm just going to try to target them, and maybe I can use my vampires to go around them or something like that. But I'm just going to use my vampires in a wise way. Maybe I can just eliminate some of the simple units and just target this and try to take the objective, or try to preserve my objective and keep killing simple things just to try to rank up some points. But to see if I can just like win by that in that sense. I mean, I still have my vampire count that has the ogre blade, so he can probably just fly and keep killing some of the units over here. But yeah, that's mainly my strategies. Maybe I can kill those lizardmen, the skinks, the swarms. I can kill skinks. I can kill these things. And maybe one unit of Soros warriors. I would mostly go for that one over there, because the Temple Guard and this land are just like very tough. But that's mainly my strategy, what I'm trying to do, even though that I'm handicapped by 500 points. But this unit is gonna die, most probably. And I don't have a lot of options. Anyway, in terms of spells, I casted 1, 2, 3 Doombolts into that unit, and the hits were pretty awful. So they actually just took 4 wounds, which is not bad, but it's not great. The direwolves did their vanguard and then charged into that unit of jungle swarms. They did 1 wound against my direwolves, and I did 1 wound back. Not exactly a great outcome. But at least they got their tat pit locked over there. So maybe I can come later with my vampire count. But I gotta be careful with these skinks over there, because they can shoot their javelins at my vampire count and kill them. But I'm confident that he's strong enough, and then he can probably kill them. And then end up just destroying maybe conjointly with some other units. He can probably kill those. But I'm gonna move these ghouls move from over here. I think it was over here. Over there, and reserve move. So they're going to try to go under the rock and trying to get those units over there. Anyway, so that's Vampire counts turn 1. Let's go to lizardmen turn 2. Okay, end of lizardmen turn 2. Everything advanced. That unit got stuck because of stupidity, but this one used its real movement and charge into the unit of ghouls. They wipe them out and reform and overrun, and they actually managed to clip the Banshee before they clip this unit. So I don't know if they're gonna wipe it out or combat resolution. We shall see. Hopefully with the Scream I can do some damage to them and manage to overcome the situation of the charge, or maybe she can make a wound, we don't know. Zombies receive one wound actually from the javelins, pretty bad shot. This unit casted the Skink Priest. Actually, it tried to cast Token Shield and it got a calamitous explosion, but it didn't manage to hit anybody. But then it casted Plague of Rust on this unit, and they shot their barbs at this unit and wipe out 5 skeletons. The rest march, move, because it was pretty close to the walls, so they only could make a move. Tried to cast Wind Blast against this unit, but it failed to cast. And over here, well, these guys are death. Skinks move behind the rock and through the hall. As you can see, through the hall, shot their javelins, kill a couple of ghouls. And what else happened? Well, everything is preparing to charge. This unit probably is gonna get stuck over there with the skeletons for a while. Going to try to use my invocations to keep them busy over there and just to hold them there, and try to just hold the line over here with these units. They got a lot of hard liners, like this is very tough units. So I'm hoping that maybe in my turn I can just like charge maybe one of the units. Probably I can charge with the ghosts this unit, target it over there, and then move my units to this zone over here to try to cause some damage to the temple guard, and use my other unit of ghosts to charge over there, maybe target this unit, though his hero has magical weapons, so probably they can just wipe out my ghosts. But I'm going to see if I can like maybe charge it with the ghouls, with the ghosts, and maybe use my my vampire with the flying carpet. My idea basically is to try to kill like softer units, but there's not enough soft targets over here, because if I charge the skinks, they're just gonna flee and shoot this unit, so it's going to be useless. They're not really going to do anything. I got a better chance of charging in the flank of this unit, but with the hero over there, and charging with the ghosts over there, or maybe getting in the way, or maybe getting closer to the, if I charge maybe into the, if I get close then I charge into the temple guard. They got no magical attacks, but I don't hope that the ghouls can pretty much, with the hero over there, the Sour Soul Blood and his weapons, I don't think they can actually last very long, but they can cause a couple of wounds. Besides, they got 4 wounds already. Over here, like I have not really anything to counter charge with my vampire count. Maybe I can go to the other side, and maybe I can taunt the skinks to go over there, but the vampire count still has to use its fly movement, but not be able to charge anything. But I can get maybe into a more favorable position over here and try to doombolt that unit into oblivion, and just cause as many wounds. Dogs are not gonna last long over there. They cause some wounds to the unit of jungle swarms, but they still have so many attacks and poison wounds, so it's very difficult that they're gonna last. And they still have one of those big units. They have so many attacks. They got armor hide, scaly skin, shield. They got parry because they're using their normal weapons, obsidian blades, 2 attacks from the mount, 2 attacks from the rider, 1 extra attack. It's just crazy the amount of attacks that unit can cause, and they got 2 of them. And I haven't been able to kill any unit, though they have already wiped out one of my units of zombies. So there's a clear advantage on the lizardmen. But yeah, we'll see what we can do on to Vampire Count's turn 2. Alright, Vampire Count's turn 2. A horrible turn for the Vampire Counts. Very bad decisions. Well, decisions on the spot. I mean, the handicap of 500 points, I'm doing it best I can, but it's pretty dismal at this point. I mean, the only upside, it's like the Doom Bolts managed to do another couple of wounds on this unit. So this unit has 8 wounds. It's pretty weak at this point. The ghouls charge the skinks through the rock because I didn't have anything else to do. I knew if I sent the ghouls over there, I couldn't cast Doom Bolts at anything because that unit was still locked. As you can see, there is no wolves in the area anymore. Anyway, so I knew that if I charged with the ghouls over here, his hero would just wipe them out. And plus all the attacks from the Soros warriors, they could just be wiped out. But I stayed with the Doom Bolts and I managed to make some wounds, but nothing really special. Over here as well, I managed to cast Doom Bolt at this unit and I create a lot of wounds. So I make like 5 wounds on this unit. I still got Plague of Rust over here. Now next turn is going away. Anyway, I charged with the ghouls. Of course, obviously they fled. They made more wounds into my unit. My Vampire Count flied over there and tried to cast Doom Bolt against them because he wasn't in a charging range. He couldn't charge, but he failed, and yeah, he didn't do any damage. These 2 guys moved over there. Over here, they overrun into the Banshee. She couldn't make any wounds. Her Wailing Dirge blew. It didn't do any damage. And just because of close order, charge, banner, and yeah, they pretty much just wipe her out. She didn't stood any chance, and she got completely destroyed because overrun. And she wasn't in range of my battle standard bearer, so I could throw the D3. And she doesn't have Indomitable, so that makes it even worse. So she got wiped out, so I lost a Banshee, and then they overrun again against the unit of skeletons. Managed to revive. I made this unit of zombies strong, charge, fled, they shot against me. Again, I got more wounds, and I'm in charge range. These guys are just gonna pulverize them. What else? Shot barbs at this unit, kill a bunch of skeletons. I got my Banshee there, I steal everything. My ghosts are over there. The ghouls, actually, the ghosts that were here charged the temple guard. They make 1 wound, and these guys massacre them. Like, unbelievable. The jungle swarms did so many attacks. They actually reformed so that all of them could charge. They could attack the unit, massacre the wolves. I managed to make a couple of wounds, but nothing really significant. They're probably going to charge against the ghouls. And these guys are going to shoot against the Vampire Count. Not a lot of hope. Probably that unit's going to charge there, destroy them. This is just going to shoot over here. And once this is resolved, once the turn of the lizardmen is resolved, we can start crunching some numbers and expecting what possibly could be. But I don't think this is going to pass turn number 3 of the lizardmen, because it's I think my strategy was very bad, but I'll give an analysis of what I think went wrong, because there's a certain point in which you don't have really a smoking gun, you don't have anything to overturn the game. Anyway, on to Lizardman turn 3. All right, end of Lizardman turn 3. Skinks over there shot at the Vampire Count, didn't do any wound. The jungle swarms made 2 wounds, then they got 2 wounds back, and they won by combat resolution. So they wipe out 2 ghouls plus 2 wounds of the ghouls plus 1. So there's just a couple of ghouls remaining there. Over here, this unit failed to charge the spirit hosts on the flank. The temple guards ended up, I think it was in the last turn that they completely destroyed the unit of ghouls, and then they charged this unit of spirit hosts. and they did, even though that they don't make any damage to them physically, just by combat resolution 2, because they didn't do any wounds against them, where they're very tough. So they got 2 ranks, close order, the banner, and they got the war banner as well. So it's like I started just losing wounds by combat resolution, even though that I'm in range of the banner of the count, which is in the middle of this unit. It's actually out of range. So they weren't able to just like take care of any of the wounds. So that's bad. This unit over here shot its barbs against this unit, didn't do much damage. This unit over here has oak and shield, and they got trapped in combat. The vampire count, which is technically supposed to be over there, didn't do any wounds against the Saurus warriors. That's terrible. But yeah, well, that's just what happens. And the Saurus warriors did a couple of wounds against them, and the skeletons just hit them with wet paper. It's the typical like melees. When you don't have like a really, here's the thing, when you don't really have like a smoking gun, something like really strong, like an extra attack, or some armor piercing strength or something like that, you are not going to do anything, because mostly you're hitting on 4s or 3s. So half of your roll, or even a little bit more than half of your roll, is just going to go away, unless you got hatred or kind of these are the boosters. These are the important things. So if you don't have them, half of your roll is off, and then you're gonna get a couple of wounds at the end. Depends on how much strength, but if you get like an average strength, even strength 4, you're still going to lose a bunch of those hits. And then the other unit is going to, if you don't have armor piercings and stuff like that, the other unit is just going to glaze, is just going to just bypass all of your attacks. So in combat resolution, nobody's going to win these combats. It's just pretty much going to be meaningless. And because of Banner of the Count, I was able to, because they won the battle, but because of the banner, I was able to just dismiss the wounds. So that's just tucked in there forever. Over here, not so sure. Here, on the other hand, I mean, like the amount of attacks that they did plus combat resolution, it dwindled my unit completely. Like it's really, it's not gonna hold for another round. Over there, I failed again. Their stupidity test, unbelievable. Those guys just stuck there forever. Shot some javelins at these guys, caused some wounds, nothing special. But I mean, I'm going to go to vampire counts turn 5, but see what I can do with my vampire count. See if I can maybe just like do some doom bolts over here, see how the whole combat sequence goes, because I really have not much to do. Maybe I can just create some, because this is not really a hitting unit. This is a unit that on hindsight, this is supposed to be here. So that it can just create zombies, make a big juicy unit that can cast some doom bolts, and it just inflates with a bunch of zombies and just keeps the objective protected with the unit of skeletons on each side. But it's a thing that I was not thinking about when making the deployment. Mistakes are made, but that's the thing. But this isn't really a combat unit. This doesn't have any assailment spells. It just has 2 doom bolts, raise death, as well as my corpse guard over there to help them just raise as much zombies as possible. But this is not a unit for combat. It's just a unit to just inflate itself and protect a certain sector, and perhaps just cast some doom bolts and be like a ballistic unit. But I'm not going to charge either of them, because I'm not going to do any damage. Over here is just gonna get stuck. It's just gonna be minor wounds until the end. This unit could possibly just charge against these 2, because it's either that, and maybe I can use my Banshee and kill them. But over here, it's just going to be a destruction of this side. So yeah, that's I think what's going to be. I mean, if I charge them, they're just gonna get wiped out because of the magic weapons of that guy. So I'm just going with my doom bolts. So that's pretty much. I'm going to see what it is, and perhaps I'm going to finish the game at that turn. See how the vampire does with the swarms. Because if he charges the skinks, they're just gonna keep fleeing, and it's just unless at least he has 10 he has flight 10. So plus its charge movement, probably they cannot escape, even with their complete movement. So I could charge them and I could probably kill all those skinks. So I'll see what I can do over there. Because if I go against the jungle swarms, I'm just gonna get tarped. So that guy's gonna charge over there, doom bolts over here, charge over there. I'm just gonna keep those zombies. They really don't matter because it's just an extra unit, so it doesn't grant them any points. Just gonna keep them there as distraction and just see how much of this just collapses in the next turn. On to Vampire Count's turn 3. Alright, end of Vampire Count's turn 3. Vampire charge into the skinks. They couldn't flee, so they had to take the charge, because otherwise if they flee, he was just going to overrun them. So they had to take the charge because he can fly. Took one shot, took one wound, and ended up throwing really bad. Even though that he has the ogre blade and everything, he threw like so many ones, and luckily one of the ones that went through cast 2 wounds. So he had charge and he had 2 wounds, and they end up losing the combat. They got very low leadership, even though they can reroll because of cold blood. They had to go for double ones. They couldn't pursue it, destroy them. So Vampire Count's over there. Jungle Swarms end up finishing my units of ghouls over there. I charged with the Spirit Host to this unit, and the funny thing is, I thought the Sauros Soul Blood actually had a magic weapon. He doesn't have anything. So they couldn't do any wounds back, and they couldn't do any combat resolution back to my unit. Well, they're gonna reform now. That's it's gonna be a problem because of extra lines, at least in combat resolution. But they couldn't do any wounds against my unit, so I pretty much just tarped them there, which is a good thing. Over here, it's like they are about to crumble to the Temple Guard, and then they're just gonna reform and look for something over here. But the great thing is I actually managed to inflict some wounds upon the Razordon pack, which is 2 Razordons plus the Skink Handlers, and they ended up not making any wounds against my skeletons. They lost combat, I pursued, and they didn't have enough to run away. And I end up killing both of the Razordons. So that's a bunch of points that just go directly to me. Because those are expensive units. So I'm starting to get some units over the Skink Priests are dead, the Razordon is dead. Now what I'm trying to do is probably go with my Vampire Count and kill the Slan. If I can kill the Slan, boom, and I can assure so many points. But let's see about that. This is completely just, it's going to stay the same forever. At least the Banshee managed to, with the Wailing Dirge, managed to make a couple of wounds against the Sauros warriors, but that was it. This guy's just keep inflating with zombies, nothing special, but they did a couple of Doom Bolts at the other Skink Handlers, but wasn't really significant. Over here, I'm about to get crushed. Maybe I'll just have to use the Corpse Card and just tarped them, but they're gonna wipe them out in the next turn. The good thing is they don't overrun because they're not in charge anymore. Over there, I'm just going to just let those zombies sort of tarped them. So basically, I think mostly the strategy right now, or in the next turn, so I think those Jungle Swarms could possibly just charge my Vampire Count over here. But this one has the Cloak of Mist and Shadow, so he's ethereal, so no problem. This one is the one that has a Flying Carpet, so he's going to be in some danger if they just surround him. If I just send my Vampire Count over there, it's going to be a lot of wounds that with poison attacks. They're going to be all on 6s all the time. But there is the possibility that they could kill him, so I'm not going to risk it. I would rather just use my Vampire Count to get as close to this land, to try to kill him. Or maybe try to charge this unit on the back, hold them over there, but then I'll have to get into a duel with this guy. And I don't want any duels, anything. I'm pretty confident that maybe I can take him out, but I can use my Vampire Count also to wipe out this unit over here, because I know that his Temple Guard is going to, in the next turn, reform. or just wipe out those guys and then reform, because that's the good thing about the target, it remain there. Skeleton warriors are pretty much just gonna kill the skink priest over there. Over here, no damage has been caused by the vampire count. But yeah, let's see what happens. On to it's what I think it's lizardmen turn for lizardmen turn 4. Yes, and of lizardmen turn 4. I think it was there was not much to do. Let's start over here. Jungle swarms charge the vampire count that has the flying carpet. They didn't manage to land any wound on him, but he managed to do a couple of wounds against them, so that's a good thing. This Saurus warriors reform to face them, and of course combat resolution starts dwindling that unit. I got one chance of trying to charge them with my vampire count, try to cause some wounds and wipe out this unit to try to level the game. Over here, destroy the spirit hosts and reform, getting ready to charge over here. Took some wounds, gave some wounds, not much. They pretty much like tied up, so it's gonna stay like that. Nothing. Destroy the ghouls, the skeletons, reform, ready to strike over here. I'm gonna have to use the corpse car and charge them because I got no option. Fail stupidity again. Unbelievable, for the third time. Fail stupidity. That's insane. Didn't cause any wounds, but Skink Priest lost combat, fled. They pursued, didn't catch him. So everything stays like that. On to vampire counts turn 4. I decided to stop the battle because the vampire count got slain. It was unbelievable what just happened. First I charged, I made it to the Saurus warriors that were just standing over there. Actually, the one with the cloak of mist and shadows plus the striking blade did some wounds against them. The other one did some wounds, took wound back. They were holding pretty good against the swarms. 2 more turns and I could wipe them out. But what happened actually over here, vampire count makes it in 4 attacks, weapon skill 7. He has the ogre blade, -2 armor piercing, +2 to strength. He managed to make 2 wounds, and then they say both of them, no multiple attacks, nothing back. And then the Saurus Old Blood, obviously, because what I wanted to do is just make as many wounds against this unit and make them probably just fade away or something like that. I should have taken the challenge against this guy, but at the end of the day, it will be pretty much the same. He would have saved because he has armor of destiny, so I wouldn't have made any wounds against them, or I wouldn't have killed the Saurus Old Blood. Doesn't matter. He returns the attacks and kills my vampire lord. Like, he had already 1 wound, so it had 2 wounds left. But I mean, like, he has levitating shield, heavy armor, parry, and regeneration 5+, the ogre blade, weapon skill 7, he could fly. Unbelievable. And this guy murders him. The throws were so awful with my vampire when he gets exterminated. This is insane. I thought I had the battle. I thought maybe I could pin them down. I could do a lot of wounds. I could run this unit over. And then I would have enough points and I could just keep going. And maybe just chaff everything over here and just work it out, you know. Because I killed the priest, killed the 2 razordons. But I lost my vampire count. I lost my general. I mean, there are some guys that have dark vitality. Some things can hold on. But I got no hope of really turning the battle. Over here, it's not much that I can do. It's just going to pretty much stay the same. A corpse car is gonna get destroyed, but losing my vampire count, that is like so many wounds, and then this unit is just gonna come and take the objective, and over there this is just going to get crushed when those guys decide let's just try to see if those fail their stupidity test for the next turn. Wow, they still fail their stupidity test. This unit is like the biggest, the stupidest unit I have ever seen. It's like 5 fucking turns and they fail all stupidity tests. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. I mean, I cannot charge with this. I would probably charge over there and the same thing would happen. They just back off, keep shooting. Eventually, this unit is complete. It's impossible to destroy. I imagine by turn 6, they would just stop being stupid. I'm just gonna test that. They stop being stupid by... Yeah, okay, so by turn 6, they decided to not be idiots and just do something. I would just crush the zombies or something like that, which wouldn't grant them any point because these are just recent zombies. This is not going to give anything. Probably here with the corpse card, it was just going to get destroyed eventually. Not much that I can do. Lost my general. This unit doesn't really grant any points, but it's not gonna do any combat and it's not holding the objective, which is supposed to be doing that. But eventually this was going to come over here. I mean, like most of the units, I'm not making enough wounds over there so I could really make a difference. I should have charged to the swarms. I should have charged to the swarms and I could have destroyed them, but I got bloodthirst. I wanted to destroy this unit, but now I got wiped out. So I'm just gonna leave it here. I'm just going to declare like a total victory for the lizardmen. I mean, it's a handicap battle. It's an asymmetrical battle, but at the same time, you know, it's like there was some glimpses of hope that I had, but the skinks are like really annoying. It's like one of those units that you really can't catch up with them and you cannot really do anything. But overall, I mean, like the strategy wasn't so bad. Big block of zombies. If you got an inflatable block of zombies, keep them in your objective so they can just tar pit anything and don't allow anybody to take control of your objective. That's pretty much their point. And you know, keep your vampires or your units ready for some combat and everything. I'm in the process of painting a Bargulf, so it's another one of the units that I'm going to start introducing into my army and try to get something else that I could use to charge or to counter something, you know, maybe my Black Knights or the Corpse card. I didn't see much of a point of using it in this battle, but well, it was an experimenting battle. Anyway, that's it for this battle report. Thank you so much for watching and we'll see you on the next one.